we should start streaming, okay?
All set. Sorry about that.
Thanks, sorry.
No worries.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to open the meeting of the Sanitation Commission.
I'll second it.
And it's the 30th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Steve, you have an agenda for us.
Yes, okay, so I guess we have to decide how you, I had suggested in the memo I sent last night that when we discuss the proposed stipulation of settlement on the labor contract, whether you would like to go into executive session so I can walk you through it first. So, you know, questions and concerns, if it's acceptable, then we come out of executive session for you to consider a vote on the matter.
I think that's appropriate.
All right, so do you want to do that first? I mean, the agenda has no particular order. Or you want to do the easy one first with what I think is the easy one first with the motor equipment operators.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so as I indicated, there are 3 openings right now for head drivers with the retirement of Lamar Winkster, the retirement of Dan Tutelo, and the promotion of Carlos Ortiz. There are now openings for head drivers on routes 1 and 2, which are in the village, and route 5, which is in town. So last week, we interviewed those candidates that signed the posting for the position. We're required under the labor contract to post the position and leave that posting up for 10 days. So we have a recommendation for the 3 positions. All 3 candidates that we are proposing have at one time or another served as temporary head drivers. One of them is actually serving as a head driver right now. So the recommendations are to promote Mr. Kareem Mann Sr., Mr. Bernard Dale, and Mr. Beresford Drummond to the positions of motor equipment operator. They each currently have the title of sanitation man, which is an annual salary of $64,991, and the salary for an MEO is $67,596. It's about a $2,500 raise. The head drivers are expected to manage the employees on their crew. They are expected to determine in conjunction with the foreman the best way to complete the route. They're responsible for the truck that they drive, that they go through the standard DOT inspection each morning, and obviously report any defects or deficiencies in the vehicle. So they are, you know, mini supervisors, if you will, out on the route to run the route on a day-to-day basis. And all of these people, in our mind, are well suited for these positions.
So it sounds like it's more of a management job.
Yeah, I mean, it
Increased
is.
management
Out on the route, they're expected to make certain decisions on their own. Obviously, they bounce a lot of stuff off the foreman. But yes, it's a semi-management job, if you will.
Okay.
So if there are other questions, the recommendation is to approve these, and we would make the appointments effective Monday, April 5th. We've not spoken to the recommended candidates yet, but I want to run it by the 2 of you first. And that's what I've done.
So does that mean we then have to hire any additional garbage men?
No. We have filled all those slots. Remember, you authorized
that's right.
People over the past 2 meetings, so you're all set from that standpoint, right? Yes.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. Yes. So, any other questions, comments?
No, were there any other potential candidates that could have been considered?
There were 2 other candidates that we did not want to move forward with at this time for you know, reasons based on their current level of experience and being able to take on a route. The way the contract reads, that unless unless everything, if everything, I'm sorry, I've worded that wrong. If everything is equal, then seniority shall hold.
Mhm.
In one case, the person was likely capable, but did not have qualities so far above and beyond senior members of the staff. So for that reason, that person would not be considered. But, you know, the next time there's an opening, certainly
Right.
they would be a candidate high on the list.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I would make a motion that we authorize the salary increases for the 3 promotions as outlined in the memo.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Do you want to you want to do the contract last? How would you like to do this? We can go on to the other item regarding the sanitation district. The only other thing, and I apologize, I realized after I sent it out to you last night. Remember, we had put before you, I had put before you a request to authorize the contract for the food scrap recycling. And at that time, we had sent it off to Jim Stout. Jim got back to me with, he wanted to make sure I understood all the operational issues, which I did. Other than that, he had no other comments on it. So if possible, I'd like to add that to the agenda to authorize the food waste agreement so that I can get that started with the county. They had sort of a slow start, so we're not that far behind, but it would be great if we could go forward with the food waste agreement as well.
Do you
Well,
have that?
we should do that next, but can you pop it up on the screen to refresh us?
You're gonna ask that. Let's I think the answer is yes, but give me a second. Hold on. Hang on. Hang on. All right, actually, I'll show you the one that that Jim sent back to me. I'll pull up the. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. All right, share the screen. Host disabled. Host, I'm getting a message saying I can't share my screen. I don't know why. Sean, you have any
needs to
idea
let
why
you-
it says? Sean, you have any idea? What? Go ahead.
Try it now. I think it might have been turned off.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So this is the food waste agreement. This actually incorporates what Jim was concerned about, but he and I discussed that. These were all things that were discussed with the recycling coordinators in each of the communities. These actually, some of these sections are not atypical. They're found in the master garbage contract. Let me go through them. So we have one dedicated food scrap drop-off location, but remember, we're not going to use that because we're going to deliver the material directly to Suburban. So we don't need Suburban to come to the site once we're on board with this program. They reserve the right to define what our food scraps from time to time. They have that agreement. They have that in their garbage agreement. They also have it in the organic agreement. So that to me is not a game changer. The organics recycler is going to be Suburban. Now they would reserve the right if they change contractors from Suburban, and then the commission would have to decide, if they decide that it's going to go to Peekskill directly and it would cost us an arm and a leg to continue, we can back out of the program. The county will tell us when we will go to Suburban. That's not a big issue. Remember, it's only like 5 or 10 minutes away in Mamaroneck Village. So as I say, there were things that, there were more operational. So I didn't, either of us can terminate the agreement. The agreement's only for 3 years. This is not like the master garbage agreement. Our site has to be permitted by the DEC. That's section 8 that I'm on the page now. Our site is permitted by DEC. That's why we file an annual report every year. That's about it. Remember that we did plan on entering the agreement and reduced in our budget. We pay currently $615 a month for them to come once a week. That will disappear, and we will pay we will pay $15 a ton for the first 19 tons. Starting with the 20th ton, the price will drop to $10 a ton.
Right. Steve, on the section 4 reporting, how are we going to determine the number of households participating?
So what we thought we would do is just periodically capture, just canvass the people that are coming to the site. We told the county that this could be difficult, especially at a drop-off site, that they understand it. I think they're really looking more for tonnage than they're looking for anything else. So when I spoke with the county, they said a random polling would be fine and that we could estimate the number of households. I don't really know any other way to do it on a drop-off site unless I made everybody sign in, and that I think is going to, deter people from coming if they have to go through a lot of process there.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, can you remind me how much you think how much a year we are
So
doing
every week we are accepting between 2,800 and 3,800 pounds of food waste. So roughly a ton to close to 2 tons.
And that's annual?
That's weekly.
Weekly.
Oh, thank you. That's what I thought. It can't be annual.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
Okay.
So that's, for the 52 weeks, that's significant. So we'll clearly pass that 10 ton limit,
Right.
and see the price go down. And again, as I said before, we're not really concerned about what day they tell us to deliver the material, since they are so close. We're going to use our small tipper truck to collect the material and deliver it. And so I think, it's going to work out pretty well. It's certainly worth the experiment. If for some reason it all goes bust, unlike the garbage agreement, we can back out of this much easier.
Okay.
Even they're doing it on a trial basis. They don't know if they're going to get approval to build the plant somewhere in the southern part of the county, the maceration plant, which is still on the books for them to study, but they've not gotten a complete answer on that. That's a lot of work and a lot of smell that they'd have to deal with. So I think they're going to try and make the transportation up to New Paltz the deal that they'll stand by, because it's a big site in the middle, sort of in the middle of nowhere. So
Okay, I'm okay with this.
Do you know what that site is called?
I do. And why can't I think of the name of the guy that runs it? But I can't think of the name.
Yeah,
George Whitaker.
it's Joe's place.
George Whitaker is the guy that runs it. I want to see, I want to see if it was an attachment. I'll get you the name, Lorraine.
Yeah, it'd be interesting next time I go up there to swing on by and eyeball it.
We'll give you an advance call. I'm sure they'd love to give you a tour of the facility.
It'll be fun.
Just bring some clothes clips for you.
Yeah.
I'll get you the name. It's
all
not,
right. Thank you.
I can't think of it right.
Okay.
Actually, composting, doesn't necessarily smell bad. If it is working in its right way, it smells pretty earthy, but it shouldn't
Not
stink.
food waste, Nancy. Compost does when leaves.
Yeah, but
I actually like the smell of leaves composting.
I do too. But I'm saying that once the food starts to compost, it should smell pretty good.
Well, the ideal program, they just don't have a site big enough. The ideal program is what is being done by the city of Austin, Texas, where they are mixing food waste with yard waste, and they're composting the whole thing.
Mhm.
But they have a site with, I don't know, however many acres it is.
It's a ranch.
Keep turning it. There's just not a site big enough. But that, to me, is the best solution of all. And it's now being done in Texas and in a couple of other locations. It's pretty, you just have to keep turning it. And they shoot air through it, and they get it to disintegrate pretty quickly.
Okay, so you need us to vote to approve this
Yes.
agreement. All right.
Yep.
So I seek a motion to approve the Refuse Disposal District Number 1 intermunicipal agreement for residential food scrap transportation and disposal program with the county.
So moved.
Well, no, I saw it. Sorry. I made a motion. I'll have to
Yeah.
rephrase that. I forget there's only two of us.
Okay,
I made a motion. So you second?
I will second it.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. That's great. I really appreciate that. And then we can get that started. So I guess now, you want to discuss the sanitation district, the wording on the advisory board, and then we'll go down to, we'll do the other last.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I did it the wrong way. Hold on. I'm going to share the screen and I believe this is the last version you sent us, Lorraine.
Yeah, that looks right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it read pretty well in terms of how it would run and operationally how it should be managed. But the question I had, and that we raised earlier, was talking about the only changes recommended by a majority vote of the advisory board can be implemented. That's under the advisory board shall review and develop policy recommendations regarding garbage district operations.
Right.
So what would those recommended changes be in terms of, what is in the
I think then we refer back to where the section on the beginning of that red section in the second bullet point, policies to be considered.
Yeah.
That's sort of the definition of what we mean by policy.
Mm-hmm.
So those which would result in changes to the provision and or level of services. Other items that might be considered would probably be more in the budgetary realm, like, reducing staffing by one or buying a new kind of truck or something like that would be handled through budget conversation. So this is meant to be policies that change the provision or level of service provided. And those changes should be, at least be able to convince 4 of the 6 advisory board members of their validity.
Okay, let me ask you a question on the budget. So obviously the town has a multi-year schedule for the replacement of its equipment. And that obviously includes the replacement of garbage trucks. If the district is established, we now have to develop a schedule for the replacement of what essentially becomes 12 garbage trucks over, a number of years. So I guess one concern we would have is that if the budget recommends a planned schedule of a truck, is that going to create a stir within the advisory board that if this is part of the town's normal operational capital replacement, is that something that the advisory board could mix?
Well, from the standpoint of if you're just replacing vehicles because you've made a schedule and you haven't, and that there hasn't been a consideration of changing the routes, so we need fewer trucks, or making other changes to the provision of service, like moving to one-armed bandits and therefore needing different trucks, or deciding to have the commercial district handled with certain types of trucks and the residential handled with smaller trucks, et cetera, et cetera. You see where I'm going with this, right?
So you're saying, let me try and simplify it from my simple mind. So if the let's say the administrator of the district says it may be time for us to go to the one-armed bandit trucks, that's something that you want the advisory board to have more of a say in than if it's just the standard replacement of a rear load truck that we would have done routinely as part of our operation.
Right. So
Okay.
if time comes to routinely replace a truck, and the advisory board is not considering a change to provision of service that would require different types of trucks,
Okay.
then that would be something that would,
Okay.
become
All right, I
part of
got
the budget, and we'd move ahead. But, I think that there's some connection, obviously, between the policy and the budget, and that's why there has to be this, memo to the town board and recommendations and potentially, public meetings, et cetera, so that the right hand and the left hand work together. It's not like the budget does what it's doing and then the policies can't gain any ground because we already just bought 4 new trucks and now we're kind of stuck with them.
Okay. All right, I get it. All right, that clarifies right. My concern is what we would do routinely should not necessarily be no problem advising the advisory board, but I don't know how much authority they should have for the routine operation, like replacing trucks, fixing trucks, things like that. But okay, I think you clarified.
I mean, and if we need to be more explicit in this a little bit or give examples or,
I think that might be helpful.
to make it clear. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it gets you into a
Yeah.
pickle.
I think in this case, it might be helpful though to
Yeah.
talk about specifics with examples of sort of regular operations versus actual changes in operations or changes in policies.
Right. Yeah, it could be very helpful. I wanted to circle back on the whole, can the expanded district be dissolved
Yeah.
Situation, because I know that you, Steve, you spoke with
Doug, good
Doug.
point.
But can you refresh my memory as to what his response was? And then
Yes.
I might have some additional.
What Doug said is once you've expanded the district, you can then dissolve or diminish the district. And it is, I mean, he sent me a 2-page document and we kind of cut through it. It basically follows the same procedure to expand the district. There would have to be a approval and a public hearing held for the on the subject of dissolving or diminishing the district. For our purposes, it would be diminishing the district, because I guess the sense would be that Larchmont leaves the district. The problem becomes if there is debt outstanding in the district, then the procedure is a bit more complicated, because the remaining the area where the district is diminished would somehow have to make whole what is left of the district in terms of reimbursement for debt or transfer of assets. I can send the whole process to you. It's a
Yeah,
couple of pages.
I would appreciate that. I understand how debt is going to really complicate the whole scenario, because well, because the district is going to be making capital investments,
Correct.
issuing, right? And taxpayers within the entire district are going to be paying into that debt service through their garbage district tax. So when you start to unravel it, it's sort of like, well, okay, who gets what and who owns what? And it's like a divorce, basically. Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Is it, can it be initiated by only one side or the other? In other words, if the town decided they wanted to kick us out, could they?
It can be, you know what, I don't want to give you the gospel on it, but I believe the governing body of the district can initiate the diminution, the dissolving or diminution of the.
So you could probably, but could the village also on its own say, we don't want to be in this marriage anymore?
Yes, and then that's when you start the public hearing process.
Okay, so if you can just send me the document that you have, then that would really help. That would really help. Yeah. Okay, great. I'll work up some examples. Maybe you guys can work up 1 or 2, Steve, especially you, since you're, and then we'll see how they work into this.
Okay. So we're going to send you the document. We're going to do the examples. Do you have any idea what your timeline is? Because as I say, it's starting to chip away.
I know it is. As soon as I have that document from Doug and my board has a chance to look it over.
Okay.
I think it'll be a yay or a nay, to move forward.
And when's your next meeting, Lorraine?
Monday. We had one last night, 4.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, fun. And where we have Monday night is our tentative budget hearing.
Okay.
We have other things on our agenda to discuss.
Yeah, I forgot.
1, 2, 3, 4. So that's April 5?
Yeah, April 5th, sorry, yeah.
Okay. And ours is April 7th. So we also have to share it with the town board.
Okay, good.
Okay, do you want to adjourn into executive session? I have nothing else unless you all have something else you want to discuss before we go into executive session.
Nope, I don't have anything.
Okay.
I don't either. So Sean, could you please help us to go into executive session? I guess we should make the motion.
Make a motion.
To go into executive session to discuss the collective bargaining agreement.
I second.
All those in favor? All right. Are we?
So I just need
Yeah.
a motion.
It says we're streaming.
I know that's
Here we
usually a
go.
lag though. Okay,
All set.
thank you. Okay, I'll make a motion to end the meeting. Close the meeting.
No.
Nope, we gotta
You
vote
You
first.
gotta vote on this.
Sorry, we're voting. I forgot that we had to vote. Okay, so we just reviewed the collective bargaining agreement in executive session and agreed that it is a great improvement over the last one. And so we're pleased to move forward with it. And I'll make a motion to adopt the collective bargaining agreement as proposed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so the only thing I just want to clarify with the two of you will be, with my whole situation, the plan all along had been that I would be out the month of April. My wife and I are going to go snooping around in North Carolina to see if there's a second home that may be possible. So I have met with, yesterday I met with Frank and I met with, or Monday rather, what's today? Today's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Monday, yesterday. I met with Frank and Irene. So we have arranged that I will be in regular contact with Frank on a daily basis. If he needs something, he calls, vice versa. If I have a question, Irene will, we pay bills every week, usually on Friday. Irene is going to send me by computer a list of the bills that she would like to pay. Then I'll get on the phone with her, and then if it's all right with you, I would let her sign off on the claim form, and then obviously issue the check for the bills. Everything else, we will cover. I think, with the contract now completed, the only thing that we'll pursue is getting the food waste up and running and getting the, and then whenever you all decide on if next week there's a decision made about the district, then that process can start as well. I had planned that I was going to do some work while away anyway, so I would start to draft the plan based on what you all decide is going to be the arrangement.
Okay, so you're in this week and then we won't see you again
Right.
sanitation wise until May.
Right. So if you need, look, if something really happens in Larchmont, Lorraine, with sanitation, you have my cell phone number, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Mhm.
And then, you call it. And the other
Yeah.
thing is, up here for the town, what's happening is Nancy and I have worked out something where I'm going to do twice or three times a week, do a Zoom meeting with this office with Connie and Lindsay, and then Nancy if she wants to sit in. So there's going to be a contact. So, for
Right.
the commission, I still feel that that's part of my responsibility. So you do what you need to do if you've got something really going on.
Okay. All right, very good.
Commission role is going to continue though through the end of the year if we are moving forward with the district, right?
Yeah, right.
All right. Then I guess you'd have to decide. All right. If you don't go, we'll have to talk when I get back. If for some reason we don't go ahead with the district, how you want to deal with the commission. And
Right.
whether you want to start that in 22 or whether you want to start that earlier.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Sounds
All
good.
righty.
Well, enjoy your time off.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for your work here and your approvals. And we'll get going.
All righty.
All
Great.
right, everybody. Thank
So
you.
now we can make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
Yes, and I'll second that.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sean.
Sean.
Yep.